One I want to draw attention to is the one in Nigeria, which is in the Benin Kingdom, which I spoke about earlier, in Nigeria, where all we talk about are the Benin artifacts. We forget what's going on, the interpretation of, of that within what happened, the displacement, the exploitation of the people that were affected by the invasion of the Benin Kingdom in Nigeria. It's a contested notion for me if we're going to use historical revisionism, because I feel that mainstream, we're still distracted by restitution of artifacts, which I will also refer to as living objects. And the biggest thing in the whole restitution policy leaves out what actually happened to the people on the ground when the artifacts were being taken. And I think more attention needs to be drawn to that, because as part of the restitution policy that they're trying to build, or the narratives or the interpretations that they're projecting onto the Benin people, has to also take into account the community's perceptions as well. And that is always missing in the dialogue. And what is also missing is the fact that there's trauma, which is not being addressed. There's also interruptions to creativity, again, because of the artifacts being lost, again, because of the people being displaced, and the sacking of the king to a different town. So all of those narrations or narratives are not part of the dialogue, which also means a lot of that needs to be taken into account as well. So the alternatives of that as well, yeah. That is true. And different people perceive this differently. So if you're talking up to state, like the state governor, he will probably love the idea. When you're talking to communities, it is a double-edged sword, because they want to see their stories on a digital platform, but they also want to gain from it. And how do they access, these platforms means that they need to have the tools, which they don't have. And so again, it's a double-edged, sword, because how do we get that accessibility to communities for them to be able to use it or utilize it to enable them, give their stories, or have people understand their own side of this whole stakeholder thing. Yes.